Hi guys, welcome to the Honest Perfume Reviewer. I just saw a video by the perfume guy, Sebastian, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I wanted to hear, his opinions on some new fragrances because he's always kind of like the first one to review fragrances. But this video really he hadn't even tried them yet. He was just kind of like giving us a heads up that this was coming, and he hadn't yet got his nose on these different fragrances. I have, I think, a little higher demands on my own videos that I have given them a proper wearing and I can say something about them. But I decided now to make a video, consider it kind of a first impressions video, because I've tried a lot of new things that have been launched recently. Some of these might have been out for a while, but they're at least new to my nose, and things that have kind of some of them interest me a little bit, and some of them are just kind of to give you a first impression of something that just came out. Because I do think that people are searching for that. So let's start with, we took kind of I met a friend downtown and we kind of sniffed our way around a couple stores. We do have quite a good selection of niche fragrances in Stockholm. It's not great, but it's pretty good. There's the brand of the House of Ex Nihilo from France that uses a lot of natural ingredients, have now launched a new fragrance called Vesper Glitz. And to me, this fragrance is nothing new, nothing unique. It's kind of a unisex, floral, kind of like an ylang ylang. There's maybe some tropical flower in there, like tiare maybe, or there could be some orange blossom in there too. But to me, it just smells like a good designer. It's not bad at all, but it is nothing. I don't think it's worth the money. I don't think it's niche. I don't think it's groundbreaking. It's an unnecessary release to me. And the price of this, the price range in this house is really high. And maybe that's because their ingredients are natural. And maybe some of you, I would pay a little extra for that. But then I want the fragrance itself to be, to bring something new to the table. This is nothing new, but nice, very nice. Next new fragrance I tried, this was I think 2 days ago, is Paragon from the Initio, which is a Palo Santo fragrance. I find this kind of not so different from Musk Therapy. It's kind of a light fragrance, although it does have oud and maybe it was patchouli, some heavier notes, but it's not like that at all. It's just kind of to me, boring, not bad, not bad at all, but nothing that got me really excited or anything like that. And if you're really into Palo Santo, my friend is really into it, and she says that the best Palo Santo fragrance, oh excuse my phone, I'm gonna turn that off, is definitely Eau de Californie from Celine. That is also kind of low-key, because I do find this Initio Paragon to be kind of a low-key fragrance. It's not like a beast mode or anything. It's kind of sits a little closer to the skin. I haven't given it a full wearing. This is my first impression. So just you have to take it with a grain of salt. I don't think it's a big projector. It's not some of their fragrances have incredible performance. Oud for Greatness is a good example of that. I love Oud for Greatness. Because that one really, you just need a drop and you're good to go for 12 hours. This is nothing like that at all, but I do recommend you to try this Eau de Californie if you're into Palo Santo and looking for a fragrance with that vibe. Palo Santo is some kind of a wood, and usually you burn it, and it gives off this really good smell. They use it in yoga studios. I've smelt it I went for a massage, and she had Palo Santo because she kind of clears the air in there in her studio between her clients, and it smells really good. It smells really good. And I think there are two new ones from Amouage. At least there might be more. I think there's a new one coming called, was it Change, or was it, God, I can't remember the name. It's kind of a metallic looking ad I think I saw on Instagram. And maybe I'm mixing that up with the new one from Xerjoff. No, that was Groove Escape. It was Xerjoff's. The one from Amouage called something else. I can't remember. But there are two new fragrances in this gray bottle Opus Collection something collection. And they're called Rose Incense and Royal Tobacco. And these are really good fragrances, both of them. And I don't typically like rose that much, but this particular one is really interesting and had lots of layers. And Royal Tobacco, I think I mentioned that in an earlier video, really is something new. I could sense it right away, wow, what's that? It has a really nice kind of licorice note in the opening. And then, of course, it has incense, like a lot of their fragrances. It has the tobacco, I think, is a little bit not so dominant. Had it been, I would not have liked it that much. But I think it has some resins, and it has there's a little smokiness for sure. There's also like a birch tar note, kind of like in Le Lion from Chanel. So that is a fragrance that I'm kind of like, every time I go there, I try a little squirt, because this is an expensive fragrance. I would never just go out and buy it because I thought it was interesting at first sniff, because of the price, and also because it's not my favorite category of fragrance. But I don't think it really is a tobacco fragrance. I think it was created by, it's a Cecile Sirokian fragrance, and I usually like her work a lot. So I'm going to come back to that. So that was, and rose incense as well. I thought that was like really beautiful on the skin. But I'm always a little hesitant when it comes to rose. And speaking of rose, I think that I just heard from Sebastian that Van Cleef and Arpels are launching a new rose fragrance. It's called Moonlight Rose. And I thought, why are they... There's some rose trend going on. You know, Tom Ford just released 3 rose fragrances. It was this Rose d'Amalfi rose, like 3 rose fragrances. And like, it seems like every house is doing a rose now. And I just find rose to be like, let's move on to something else. And like a few years ago, it was like rose, oud, and patchouli, and everyone had a fragrance along those lines. And I just find that rose is like, I don't know, it's just not my favorite note. So, but I do always try new things. I mean, if new fragrances come, I love to try this stuff. And then there's a really, really old fragrance that I want to talk about because it was new to my nose, and it might be new for you too. It's called Gravel. No, the house is called Gravel, and it's called A Man's Cologne. And I don't think it is for men. I think it's very unisex. And I guess this came out like in the 50s in the States somewhere, where like men typically back in those days didn't wear cologne, and someone wanted to actually create something for men to wear. And this has like, it has benzoin, it has some citrus notes, it has kind of a little of everything. It's really hard to describe this fragrance, and I want to go back and try it again. And I think in the bottle, there actually is a little gravel in the bottom, like some little pebbles, and that's supposed to give it that last little hint of some kind of stone or metallic little quality. I don't know if I could detect that, but I like this fragrance. I want to go back and try it again. My friend who has a really good nose, and she said that it smelled like her dad was a welder. And she said he would sometimes smell like this when he got home from work, sweaty and dirty, and like this smells like sweaty armpit to her. Like it has a sourness to it, which I could see what she was like. I could see what she was picking up on, but to me, it was more of an interesting twist to this fragrance that maybe I would call it like it was a little bit of an animalic hint or something like that. It's hard for, maybe it was musk. I'm not quite sure of the notes of this fragrance, but I think that if you get the chance to try A Man's Cologne from Gravel, do it. It's the one with gravel inside the bottle. After that, I think they made a few different versions with this like an inspiration, but it's not the right one. It should be the one called A Man's Cologne. So that's not any news. That's not like a new launch, but I just thought I'd mention it since it's new to me. So I've tried it twice, and I really kind of like that. And I think I would like it even more on a man. Okay, so next we went to Tom Ford. And Tom Ford is now like, you know, they've had a big success with Lost Cherry. And I'm not even into cherry. I've hardly worn Lost Cherry. I'm not interested in that category at all. But since we were there, and now they've like introduced they're not flankers, but they're like 2 additional cherry fragrances. And I kind of get the feeling like when like a movie has come and it's a great success, they quickly want to, they want a number 2 and a number 3, and just to kind of like keep this money machine going. And I kind of feel a little bit that that's what they've done here. The first one is called, there are 2 new ones. One is called Electric Cherry. And it smells like shampoo, like strong smelling, cheap shampoo, kind of with like a cherry candy kind of smell. It is really not niche quality. It's like something, you know, like the difference between cheap shampoo and kind of shampoo that comes from a salon, like more expensive, has kind of a more refined smell to it. And this is just like, it's a total joke to my nose. The other one, however, Cherry Smoke, I find actually interesting. And I had to kind of look into the notes. What's in here? Because this kind of, I mean, the only cherry fragrance that I own is a decant, and it's, what's it called? Rouge Smoking from BDK. And I'm kind of almost a little off of it now. I'm into my second decant, I think. Or I went through a sample and then I got a decant. That's right. But I don't know if cherry is my thing, but I'm a little more now into gourmand, so I thought at least I'm giving these cherry fragrances a chance. So this is like a leathery fragrance. It has osmanthus, which is it's a floral note, but they use it to kind of create a leather accord. And it has leather, the note of leather, olive, smoke, saffron, and then kind of a heavy dose of cypriol oil. So it's kind of a heavy, smoky, but yet sweet fragrance. And I really don't like fragrances that are just smoky because they're just too heavy and too masculine. But I think that the cherry in here, they do actually, it's a nice combination. I'm going to go back and smell that again, cherry smoke. But I haven't tried it on skin. I've just tried it because by then we had already tried so many things that I couldn't spray more on. I had no more skin to try. And then there was a new one. Let's see here. What else didn't I mention? There's a new one by Killian. And it's called Can't Stop Loving You. And I think it's a super corny name. But it is quite similar to Love Don't Be Shy, but it's lighter. It's like a light version. And it also has a little bit of incense in the base. And the woman who was telling me about it, she said it has a little more texture. I don't know what she meant by that, but it does have, I'd say Love Don't Be Shy. I have a travel size of that. I know that fragrance well. It's very potent, marshmallowy orange blossom fragrance. This is more of a light. It's a lighter, it gives a lighter feel, kind of like Woman in Gold, like it's not super loud. But it's very, very much a by Killian fragrance. I'd say it's probably a people pleaser. No one would hate this fragrance. It's just that, for those prices, I think that it has to be something extraordinary. I don't think this has so much new to offer. Oh yeah, it has also oak moss in the base. So it's a little bit more like, it has a little bit more of different layers where maybe Love Don't Be Shy is mostly like sweet and loud. But then you're good to go for the day because that's such a strong fragrance. I think that I couldn't probably say the same for Can't Stop Loving You. I did try it on my skin. This was actually like a couple weeks ago. And it did, I could still smell it like 3-4 hours after, but it's not like a 12-hour potent fragrance at all. Okay, and so the last one that I tried that is new is Valaya from Parfums de Malle, which I thought was a huge disappointment. And the fact that Demi Rawling was going on and on how much she loves this fragrance, I just can't take her seriously after that, because this fragrance is not anything, to write home. We have an expression in Sweden, anything to write home about. You don't write home. It has nothing new to offer. It smells to me like clean sheets. It's good. It's not bad. And the bottle is really beautiful. It looks like a bridal fragrance, and it might be actually the perfect bridal fragrance. It's kind of a floral, slightly woody musk. Maybe there's orange blossom in there. It has peach, because I find often that orange blossom fragrances that has a little bit of fruitiness in the top also give off that clean sheet vibe, like laundry drying in the sun, kind of that freshness. I like it. I would just never, ever buy it. Super boring to me, for something that I would never spend my money on a fragrance like that. If I wanted to buy like a fresh orange blossom fragrance, because I find that they don't last that long, I would probably go for Le Labo's. Is really, really, really good, but it doesn't last. And then there's like a cheaper alternative would be Prada's. Their Infusion De Fleur d'Oranger, really beautiful as well. So most houses have their orange blossom fragrance. Actually, I don't even know if this one has orange blossom. It's kind of a floral. I think it has like peony. It has like boring flowers. There was some note in there that I didn't recognize that was like trademark, like they had this as a protected ingredient or something, and I think it's kind of like a made-up flower, like called Paradisone or something like that. Anyway, I no, unfortunately, I guess I've been in the game so long now, so I don't get as impressed at every new launch because I don't think that they have so much. I mean, like when Le Lion came, I thought that was something new. That was something really interesting. When what else came that was new? I mean, the Royal Tobacco I can really see has something new to offer, but otherwise they're mostly like same takes on fragrances that are already out there. And sometimes the prices are so high that I don't really quite think it's worth paying those prices. What I really felt like I got an urge to buy are two Tuberose fragrances. And these are not new fragrances, but I'll mention them anyway because to me they're kind of like they're up on my wish list. And one of them I really didn't like at all. I mean, at all, like a year and a half ago. And it's Moon Bloom from Hiram Green. And I didn't know that Hiram Green works with all natural ingredients. Did you guys know that? I mean, I find that really interesting because their fragrances are not, I mean, they are definitely not for like the beginner nose. I know when I first smelled Arbole, I hated it. I was like, God, what is this? This is like cough medicine. And Slow Dive, I think that's quite a challenge. Even if you love honey, that's still like, it's honey. It's so like animalic honey. Then they have Hide that smells like tar. It's just, is it birch? I don't know if it's birch tar or if it's another kind of tar. It's just like super, and that's like a prize winner. That one won a prize because it was like the most authentic something, but I would never like spray it on myself. But this one, Moon Bloom, is actually wearable. And I find it so hard to believe that I really hated it when I smelt it like 18 months ago, and now I'm like, it's on my wish list. But it's a green tuberose with a little bit of a coconut background. What else could be in there? I mean, other white florals maybe, but it's green. It's like a green tuberose, and a little bit creamy, but not creamy like Love Tuberose from Amouage, or it doesn't have that real milky vibe. I'd like to try it side by side with Carnal Flower. I just got like a 10 ml bottle of Carnal Flower, and I don't know if I really need them both, but maybe I do. And they're not either cheap. They're kind of Labo level, like $175 maybe for a 50 ml. It's not, maybe the dollar now is different, so maybe slightly less. I can't figure it out, but you get the basic idea about what kind of price it is. And then there's also OSA from the Note collection from Profumum Roma, which is also a really beautiful tuberose fragrance. And it also has like a greenness to it. I think it has like chopped grass, tuberose, maybe orange flower. I can't remember the other notes. They only give like 4 notes, but it definitely has that green, like a tuberose with a dose of green in it. It's also super beautiful. It's available in the 18 ml bottle, which is expensive, per liquid unit or whatever. But it's I never use up my perfume, so for me that would be my choice to do, unless I knew that there were a lot of people interested in buying decants or something. But I think this fragrance might be difficult. Like everyone might not like it, but I'm really into these new tuberose. I'm so glad I'm back on tuberose. After I Rouge Malachite ruined the experience of tuberose for me for like a year and a half or 2 years. I couldn't wear it and I didn't like it at all. It was just almost like I felt like, vomiting when I smelled tuberose. But it's back, and I think I'm coming back through these like green tuberose fragrances. So I've tried a whole bunch. I tried like Doucon from Diptyque. And speaking of Diptyque, they have something new too, but I can't even remember it. That house does not intrigue me very much. I've only had a full bottle of one fragrance. I can't hardly remember the name. I bought it used. I sold it quite quickly. I find that they're so basic. Like they have a good sandalwood. I think it's Tamdao, but it's such a basic sandalwood. It has nothing of its own to offer. Doucon is like a really basic tuberose. I don't know. And the fig fragrance that everyone talks about, Philosopos, and you have to be Philosopos, maybe you would call it. You'd have to be a real fig lover to like that, because that is figgy. But it's just like I guess I find them a little bit one-notey, and I think that like one-note fragrances I mean, perfumery to me is all about the composition. It's not about like one. I don't mind one note being more dominant, but if it's only smells like one thing, and that's kind of the vibe you get, I just find that it's not good perfumery. But I mean, this is where I'm at right now. Maybe I'll understand this more, later on. Yeah, those were my the fragrances that I've been smelling lately, and maybe you got a few new launches to look for when you're sniffing for perfume. And I hope to be able to buy Moonbloom or Osa soon, maybe both. That was all for today, guys. Bye.